Good evening, Sports Card Wild West Marketplace. Mic check. Mic check. Let's see if this audio is working. I'm on the terrible DSL. Also got the football game on. I will say I might think about Thursday nights next week. Do I want to do a Thursday show or not? I don't know. I just really excited the football's on. Super excited to have a guest tonight. Super excited with some content I've got to share with you guys. So the show's been going pretty well. This is week 2, right? And we're on Thursday night, right? So chugging away. I think we've had I think this is our 10th guest because we had a show on Saturday night as well. I mean, Sunday night. So, really excited about the momentum. Really excited about the show. If you're a first-time viewer, if you have a second, please leave a comment. Let me know that everything's good on audio and video. We're going to spend about 10 minutes just kind of going over sports news, hobby news. Damn, this football game is going to drive me crazy. Then we're going to have a guest on. I'm going to go ahead and just pause this. That way I'll just not pay attention to it. Then we're going to have a guest on, and we're going to open up at the end for Q&A. So, guys, if you're there, please get your questions out. We have a great guest tonight. I'm super excited to introduce you to Reckless Cards. Super cool story here about Reckless Cards. I met them actually in a group on Instagram. So we'll get more into that in just a moment. But let me go ahead and dive into the news of the evening or the content of the day. Let's start here with the Daily Hobby. Now, I picked the Daily Hobby pretty clean yesterday when they dropped some new information. These new articles came out. I haven't seen anything new on the right-hand side that's kind of percolated up. And the NFT news seems to be the same. Although there was some information here about the government. Again, not going to dive into NFTs, but I'm going to give a shout out to the Daily Hobby. Do like the content and hope they continue to, percolate up some good articles here. They were used to do videos of the day. Maybe they should start adding some videos. I would love to help out Daily Hobby if they're interested. Maybe you're listening. I'd be happy to help volunteer some time there with you guys. Next up is Sports Collectors Daily. Not a whole lot of super, interesting or new stories. We already talked about the college football cards, sports cards that are coming out. There's a little conversation here. Top 20. Just in my mind, thinking to myself, 2022. Already talking about next year's product, man. They'll be talking about next year's flagship too, pretty soon. Cards here about one of the Hall of Famers. I thought that was pretty interesting. This is interesting. Remember the Field of Dreams game we had just a few weeks ago, right? That jersey, they auctioned up the jerseys from all the people that played. And the Aaron Judge jersey went for the highest amount. Sometimes I wonder to myself, are people buying it to cut them up and make their own cards? Is somebody going, I'm going to buy this? And I'm sure Panini buys some of these up, right? Or I'm sorry, not Panini, Topps or whomever it might be. I mean, even Fanatics probably buy some of this up, but a lot of money in that. Nothing else super, super exciting there. I will just go over here. I did put together today I have a video coming out later on, but I put together a list of Prism PSA 10 rookies quarterbacks, right? I got my 2016 quarterbacks. I got my 2017 quarterbacks. My 18s and 19s are mixed up here together, right? And then my 20s, 18, 19, 20, tracking how my quarterbacks are doing during NFL season. Now, real quickly, as I look through this, through market movers, look at the green versus red. The green, Golf is green. Trubisky's green. These are all what I refer to as not very good quarterbacks, and Hurts is green. And the green is not very deep, right? You got some deep green here on Trubisky, and I don't even understand. Like, was it really down to $35 at one point? So little surprised. Also surprised on some of the pop counts. Like his pop count's really only 533. And again, that was a year that everything was a silver, so different year than some of these cards. But Tua 686, Jalen 320. So just keeping a track on that, I thought I'd share with you. Now let me go into some of the news article stories of the day. Okay, first of all, the big story that everybody was talking about here was the PSA news, right? PSA has announced they're cutting the price of Express. I don't even know why they call it Express. I'd like to come up with a clever joke, but it's just not Express. There's nothing Express about the service that PSA provides. The second tier is going from $200 to – that's great. And they talked about plans for in Q4 if you're very good. Yeah, if you're really good, guys, they're going to bring back standard or regular or whatever the heck it's called, which means if you're really, really good, you can probably get the graded card for $75, maybe $100. If this tier is going to $150, What's the next tier going to be? 100? 75? It's not going to be 30 or less. So it's not like I'm going to be excited, but it was the big news. Everybody's talking about it. I don't know. It wasn't worth it to me to really make a big deal of it. There's some other great news going on out there in the hobby. I will say, I did a quick video. Topps NFTs, their baseball Inception NFTs, sold out today in minutes. That actually caught me by surprise. I'm not going to lie to you. That caught me by surprise. That blockchain's been doing so terrible. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to make this an NFT story, and I want to get to my guest here in a few moments and also catch the end of the football game. So please don't tell me what's going on in the football game. I know somebody's going to do that now. PSA Drops Express. Really good. Here we go. Let's go over this one. Good interview here with Peter from SGC and Mike, baseball card collector. So two things that I took out of this real quickly. Number one, this was a really good conversation about the collecting side. Mike, as a collector, talked to Peter about collecting and the hobby. It wasn't about talking about SGC and what's your plans and how you're growing. It was really good. He started off there asking a little bit about SGC, but most of this conversation was around hobby and collecting. And I really, really also it's just great to see the generational differences. Mike is older generation, Peter younger generation, and it was just really freaking great conversation, guys. Really recommend this. One thing that also caught my attention was Mike mentioned he's a PSA guy, and he stressed how one of the reasons he's a PSA guy is the set registry, how important the set registry is. And he asked Peter about it, and Peter giggled and said, yeah, we'd love to have the time, but right now we're so focused on operations. It's just not something we can do right now. It's on our roadmap. And Peter, man, I want to see you guys succeed. In fact, I even put this in the comments down here below. I will offer to volunteer my time to help you build out a set registry. I don't think this is as difficult as people think. I will plan it out. We're going to need some development on the website, right? But I think you could probably contract that out. And I also think the SGC community, I bet you there's people who would help build this. I really do. If one of the graders would just step forward and help make this work and sponsor it and connect into it, a set registry could happen. Beckett, if you're listening, the transparent grading team, if you're listening, Peter, if you're listening, I'm telling you, set registry, it could happen. It could really happen. And it would be a differentiator. You get the power of it. As Michael said, he loves the set registry. It's the bravado. It's the points. It's the scoring system. If you add some prizes, add some modernization to this thing, man, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Next up, listen to this. This was pretty interesting. Got a few minutes before I go to my guest here real quickly. This is from Go GTS, who did Hobby Happenings. Really love the show. Inventory seized on the first day of the 2018 I'm going to mention, I talked about this earlier in the week. Sports Collectors Daily had an article about this guy who was arrested in 2018 at the National for fraudulent autographs and memorabilia. Mentioned Cleveland is getting most of it back, and all charges dropped against him. The Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office decided last month that they wouldn't pursue criminal charges against Posada. Except for a board of signed items confiscated by investigators at the show, the cart full of Posada's material will be returned to him. Posada was ordered to pay Stephen Lane, one of the original complainants, Louisiana collector, $300 in restitution for a multi-signed piece of baseball memorabilia that was purchased at the show. But beyond that, he will face 0 penalties. Quote, after balancing all interests in the case, we felt this was appropriate resolution. A spokesman for the prosecutor's office told Fox 8 in Cleveland. Posada 70 was indicted by Ohio grand jury in 2019 on numerous charges, including forgery, petty theft, criminals, stimulation, and 25 counts of trademark counterfeiting, since some of the items in his inventory carried what prosecutors said was phony MLB trademarks. The indictment stated Posada's purpose was to defraud, evidenced in part by his current and prior history of marketing fake sports memorabilia, and his use of deceptive promotional efforts, coupled with the number of duplicates within his confiscated inventory, and the readily identifiable hallmarks of forgery and or simulation. Close quote. Posada, owner of signed certified memories, had pleaded not guilty to the charges in May 2019. And video taken at the Center showed Posada stating that the photographs and other material he was offering at the show on August 1st, 2018 were being offered as decorative items. Oh, yeah. He used Groot. Groot. I'm going to listen to this. But Posada got back everything else, and all charges were dropped. Cuyahoga County prosecutors issued a statement saying the defendant paid full restitution. The victim, who lives in Louisiana, was content with that resolution. After balancing all interests in this case, we felt this was an appropriate resolution. Still, we went back to the heart of the case. Piles of autographed pictures. That can't all be legit autographed material, right? Why not? I sell them as decorative items because I was not present while each one was actually signed. And despite all of this, you might see Anthony Posada as a dealer at another show. A lot to unpack there. Okay, so these guys go on, and they do complain about this earlier, and it makes some points. Okay, this guy's walking away, hand slapped, $300. He paid restitution to the guy who he defrauded. The guy let him off. I'm really disappointed in that person too. Okay. All the autographs and everything that he had, he gets back. So as one of the guys points out, it's not that the stuff was even confiscated or destroyed. It goes back into circulation. Like I said earlier today, or earlier in the week, there's too much of this fraudulent crap that stays in the hobby. Nothing happens to it. You don't call somebody. No one comes and destroys it. It's not like anybody cares. It just continues to proliferate itself in the hobby. You hear the guy say he sells decorative items. He didn't even call them authentic. He sells decorative items. He's going to continue to do it. This stuff just is deplorable. It's deplorable. I want to get to my guest here. We're going a little bit over time. They got one more video to talk about. Maybe I don't have another video to talk about. I will say football starting. I'm doing this fantasy football NFT draft thing. Love it. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and let me kill this right here. I'm going to go over here. All right. I'm going to bring on my guest. Now, I'm super excited. I hope this works out really well. First of all, everybody in the chat, thank you guys for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. I've got Reckless cards here. And I'm literally to say I came across Reckless cards as they were joined. I met them in an Instagram group. And then when I started exploring their channel and watching them on Instagram, what I saw is that Reckless is a family. It's not one person. It's a husband and wife and their kids, and they're all involved in this. And I freaking love it. I really do. I love watching their videos. I love their Instagram. I'm inviting them on so they can talk a little bit about what they're doing, what their involvement is in the hobby. If you haven't already, get over to Instagram. I think that's their primary, and follow these guys at Reckless. Real quickly, without further delay. Hello. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you guys very, very much, man, for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Let me also say, this is the first time we're talking, so the audience knows that. I don't pre-interview people before. I just kind of throw you under the camera, and I want to hear your story, and I want to share you with the audience, and I want to just kind of build the hobby. So please introduce yourself. Tell us about Reckless. Who got started first, and how did you guys get to where you are is what I want to know.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of this. I know that Courtney said the only way she would come on and if you allowed me to come on. So I appreciate you making some concessions and let me get up in here. But this is Courtney. I'm Jeremy. We've got 4 kids. Amelia's 15, Steven's 13, Kaya's 4, and Lala's 2. They're in bed because it's a school night. And so otherwise they would be on here acting goofy.
Yeah. Amelia's actually 14, but Jeremy never knows anything about that.
15 going on 22, or when it's convenient, 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with regards to who started first, I don't know. Jeremy and I have actually known each other since we were 14. So wow. I'd say we probably both have been collecting our whole lives. I don't know if there's like a who started it kind of deal. I know that we stopped collecting as adults, and then like a few years ago, like three or 4 years ago, our friend we moved from Chicago out to Michigan, and then he followed us out here. Mm-hmm. And he's never stopped collecting. And when he moved out here, he kind of got us back into it.
Yeah, it was New Year's Day. We have a basement, and we were going to go buy a new arcade game. So ping pong table, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, big TV, the whole 9 for the kids. And everybody was moving a little sluggish on New Year's Day. There was a couple adult pops had the night before. And I came out, and my table was just covered in cards. And he was showing them to me, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool, but this is also like, hey, we're grown-ass adults now. I don't have time to be playing with cardboard. Yeah. Where we were going to go buy the arcade machine was closed. So I said, to heck with it. And I went with him, and we went to every Target and Walmart, and I bought probably $500-$600 of retail when you could buy retail.
And when he said $500 or $600, that was like when blasters were like $15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the mega boxes were $15.
Yeah,
I remember those.
I had no idea. And he was saying these things like Razzes and Breaks. And I didn't know what the hell Panini was. I grew up with like Fleer, Upper Deck, and Tops.
Yep, Tops, yep.
And so it was all foreign to me. And, I would say within about a week, we were both hooked. And then when we realized that, there was an education that we could provide our children in regards to, being entrepreneurs, dealing with, customer service, marketing, all these little things that tied in, it's kind of just snowballed. And what we've done is we're very, we don't take ourselves serious at all. And, people tend to gravitate towards that because this hobby can be intimidating when you first get in. And so we just made it a point where we're just going to document as much as possible and then share,
and
then
we've
open
messed up a lot, especially because, you know, when you're collecting, I remember we talked about in one of our last episodes was how Jeremy thought the inserts were lame. So
I did too. And
so, like, he's like, these are stupid. He's like, they're base. And I'm like, it's a different color. And I like
ignorance, man. Ignorance.
I was into
it's also it's funny. I got so many questions for you. How do you keep the kids engaged? Because I see your kids do your videos. I see them collecting. Because I have, so I'll just give you background. I have a 14-year-old son, an 11 turning 12, and a 10-year-old son, and they used to very much be involved. We used to rip and break cards and chase cards together. I'd pull up the target, and they would run in. If stuff was there, they'd call me, and then I'd park. We had a team, right? And now to them, it's like they want to open it, and then they want to sell it as fast as they can. They have no interest in collecting, and they're competitive with each other. They don't. You know what I'm saying? Like if one gets a good card, the other one doesn't. They fight over it. How do you guys manage that? What's the secret?
Well,
so it's
Steven
a lot
is more of a collector. He doesn't want to sell his cards, so that helps because he also he's not into like the money side of it all. He doesn't care. He wants to open wax. He wants to find his players that he likes, and he doesn't care.
And when he's not into the money side, like he has no idea how money works, and he just thinks that there's this. I wish I was as rich as he thinks I am, because this kid has no idea. Why can't we have 4 boxes of National Treasures? I don't know, Stephen. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Amelia's at the age where we're teaching her about fiscal responsibility and the understanding the cost of a phone. She's got car insurance going to be coming up soon. She wants to go to the movies. And so when she learns that there's an opportunity, if she understands, when to buy and sell, or help mom and dad cut cardboard.
Or make TikTok. She loves the marketing and the being creative. And there's so much there's so many outlets now in the hobby. Like there weren't when we were kids. It was like, oh, I like this card. Do you like this card? Do you want to trade? Now it's like, hey, check out my TikTok page where I made TikToks, and check out these cool pictures I got of these inserts, and it's a lot of stuff. And you have the Sasha T's and the people and Ryan from Card Collector too that are making people in the hobby famous, and kids gravitate towards that. So it's kind of like I hate to say it, but with Amelia, she's 15. She likes the cloud a little.
Well, I tell you what, I encourage that. I really do. I think it's so important. And again, what I love about your stuff is you guys do it as a family. I mean, again, you're the first family I've seen like that who is as involved. And also share with me, where is your primary media and what is your primary hustle? Are you guys doing breaks? Are you opening card? What is?
So
tell us more about Reckless.
Legitimately trying everything. We do, buy and sell a lot of cards, and that's not as we're not just trying to make money. It's as we're in this longer, we identify other cards that we want, and obviously we have, we've got a family, we've got bills, and so keeping that money in the hobby ecosystem. We buy and we flip when it makes sense. And we've done some breaks. And we always look at it from the point of view of a consumer. Like, what do I like about breaks? What don't I like? So for instance, we did a 4-year multi-year mixer where we said, hey, this is going to break Friday night at 8:00. It was, probably about $2,000 worth of product. Came time to break, and we still had some open spots, and everybody was just like, let it ride out. But we've all been on breaks where it's 1:00 in the morning and you're still waiting to see what the hell's going on. And
75 minis. And
we made a commitment. So we gave away all the spots to, people in different Instagram chats or people that we have relationships.
Bought a couple.
Yeah.
We gave them another one. And we did we do a lot. I don't know if you've ever jumped on we do a lot of giveaways.
So the breaks,
I've seen that.
They haven't been, a moneymaker. And it's a lot of work, quite frankly.
Well, that's what I say. I say from what I've seen of you guys, I've been following you a while. You do seem to be doing more as a collector than you are a business in some case. It seems like you're doing just enough to keep yourself treading water. Does that kind of make sense? You give away stuff and you make some money, and you give away some stuff and you make some money. What's your goal?
Open into bigger cards, I think, is what ultimately the giveaway. We enjoy the fun of the hobby, and part of the fun of the hobby is that's what keeps our kids engaged. So when we're doing the giveaways and the lives and the TikToks and all the fun stuff that we do, that kind of it propagates the joy that the kids feel in it, which is, ultimately what we're doing because we enjoy the hobby. And in that sense, no, we're not making a ton of money. But on the other hand, we started out with some bullshit cards from when we were kids, and now we have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of cards, which we've moved up into on our own from buying and selling
from starting with retail
and investing the right way. So that way we can purchase cards that we want, that we enjoy, and not spend our money that's our family money.
Do you guys have any breaks, like family breaks, where you guys open special cards together that you remember, or where you guys were screaming as a family and then saying stories like that?
When we first got into it, Courtney was like, "Oh my God, I've got the greatest deal. I bought 10,000 cards and it only cost me $75." And so we as a family started at like Saturday at like noon and went through 75,000 cards that were complete trash.
Such trash.
Just looking for that one. And
hoping.
We finished at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and the kids were having a blast. They were looking at all the cards.
Weird cards,
like the old NFL Pro Set cards where they're like 3/4 naked and they're making kiss faces at the camera.
Don't forget to put a condom on because AIDS kills. My son's like,
yeah, so that's probably the most memorable thing. But I think the one thing that they enjoy, it's probably the one, because we all have such drastically different personalities. It's the one thing that brings us all together where there is absolutely no bickering. And it's just, as parents, what you envision, like everybody's getting along. This is great.
And we all collect different stuff.
Awesome.
So it's like, there's no, like, where you're talking about your son's like, who this one's got to go. Amelia is more like, she likes Garbage Pail Kids and she likes swimming stuff because she's a swimmer. And then Steven's into football. And then me and Jeremy are just like,
everywhere.
We're all over the place. So
that is awesome. That is so exciting. I mean, it's so cool you guys are doing that. Anything you guys have coming up? I mean, if people are following you guys doing any breaks coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we always drop in breaks. The one thing that we're most proud of is every month we do what's called the Reckless Gem. And this started about 8-9 months ago. We were having just an absolute rotten day. And when I tell the story, I always say that, like, Courtney's Mercedes didn't start. Her escargot wasn't right on. There was a scratch on her Louis Vuitton bag. Like, true first world problems. But
yep.
We ran to the store and got like a bottle of wine and like a 6-pack of beer, and we just decided we had never gone live before. Let's just jump live. Let's see who gets on. Let's talk hobby and just give stuff away. And it's snowballed to the point where we give away slabs, magazines, spots and breaks, to now we have, like, some of our mail days are people sending in stuff for us to give away.
Which we
awesome.
We don't keep anything that anyone's.
And it's never crap. It's like, $100 slab, 50, like, we just picked up a year subscription of, Basketball Card Fanatic to give that away on a monthly basis, just things to provide value. And, we thought that if it put a smile on our face, we can put a smile on somebody else.
So you do this every week?
$300 card.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Is this a weekly live you guys do?
Once a month.
Monthly. When's the next one coming up for the audience?
This will be the Thursday after what's the 21st, 22nd, like the 23rd or 24th.
It's usually the second to last Thursday of the month we go live.
Okay, so follow, and IG is your primary thing, right? You guys are primarily IG.
And we have YouTube too.
Yeah, YouTube,
Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the kids
want to follow us, we're on it. So
keep the kids involved. In fact, I would encourage them to do more of it, right? Because if you look at the kids in the hobby, when I think of kids in the hobby, there's the Elevate sports kids. I don't know if you've seen them. There's some kids who do a show with their dad. I've seen Brody, the kid, who does a show. I think his parents helped him put that together. But there's not a lot. And I'll even say, like, my kids won't even get in the camera anymore. They hate it. They're like, Dad, I don't want to do that. That's foolish. So I encourage it. I also think it's great for their confidence in front of the camera, right? Build the content, whatever it is. So encourage them. If I can encourage them in any way to do more of it, and have them reach out to more and more kids, because I think that's what everybody really wants to see. They want to see more kids involved. So
one thing we've noticed with Steven lately is he's kind of taken a step back. He was gung-ho after the national. And then lately, we don't want him to feel any sort of pressure.
Right.
This is supposed to be fun. And the moment you start feeling pressure, he's got enough, school, cross-country stuff he's doing. that, he's kind of taken a step back. Like, hey, I just want to open cards. I want to play with them. I want to beat up the corners. I want to, take them out, look at the stats. And so we're incredibly mindful of that, where we're never being pushy. And then, when they're comfortable and ready,
we
bring them
forth. You don't want to ruin the hobby for them. Because don't open that and don't touch your cards. So ultimately I'm not going to buy him like super high-end cards if he wants to play with them, but I'll get him.
That's because you buy them for yourself.
I mean, that's true. But but yeah, and Amelia, what's cool about Amelia is there's not a lot of like teenage girls in the hobby at all. Yep. So the fact that she's into it and she has fun doing it, but I gotta tell you, she gets so much crap like on her social media from like teenage boys getting on there and just being like awful to her.
Really?
It's like super upsetting, man. Like if I could say one thing, like
that's annoying. Like
stop having them harass my daughter on TikTok.
that would so bother me. I don't even know what to say. Did they go to the national? Did they go with you guys?
Yeah.
So I would assume did they get a lot of free stuff as kids? Were there a lot of giveways and stuff?
They did.
Like Cage gave them both slabs and stuff, so that was cool. Steven got some T-shirts. They got a bunch of bags and posters.
They met Ryan and all that stuff. All those guys, and they thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on pushing, because it's funny. My kids, I'm a divorced dad, unfortunately. So in the beginning, the hobby was how we kind of communicate. We'd watch breaks together. We'd do stuff on the hobby. We'd spend their weekends chasing retail and opening it and stuff. And then my kids got really into just the money of it. They had ComC accounts. They would run their own accounts like that. And now they're not as active. I think part of it is the hobby's so expensive. Like we used to open a case or two of a product each year of certain products. We haven't done that since 2000, and I think 18 is the last year we did that. So now I don't push them. I know that it's like the seed has been planted. If they never do cards again, they'll have it the rest of their lives. But I do think it'll be something that they, like you said, it teaches them responsibility, customer service, follow-up, care, everything. So it's awesome to see that in the hobby.
I think it's integrity too. I think for us, because we are incredibly honest and we give back a lot, and we, I think that's an invaluable lesson for our kids personally, is like if you're not scamming people and you're doing things the right way and you're not like trying to like squeeze every last drop out of every sale, they see that. And I think if that's like the lesson that we teach them, is like kindness and just being like a solid person and trustworthy, that in and of itself is a good enough lesson.
I applaud you for everything you just said there. I cannot stress that, because we were talking about this the other day. How many people admit that when you're a kid, there's the older kid who kind of trades you the crappy card for the better card, takes advantage of you, because part of it is this knowledge thing that kids will take advantage of each other. And if you teach your kids, don't do that. Be the right person. Be the person on the school bus that says, no, that card's worth more. You should do this trade. I think that's such a wonderful thing to teach, because it's something they learn in their life that's going to build friendships and relationships and rapport. It's also it's thinking long, right? Don't think short-sighted about, hey, I'm going to make a trade, take advantage. Think about long-term. I'll make a friend that I'm going to have the rest of my life. It's going to trust me. So I love what you said. That's an awesome comment. You guys are in what area? You're in the Michigan area?
Yeah, we just did I just want to touch base on that real quick, is we did the Shipshawana show just this past weekend. It was over 150 tables. And we made it a point that, any kid that stopped by our table got free cards, whatever they wanted to pick. And they went over into like the dollar box. Courtney's like, no. Go for the better cards. Go over here. Go to the $3, $5, $10 cards, or grab a slab or whatever. And then any like young kid that was coming up trying to make a move, we let them, win the deal, walking away with a good feeling, understanding like, no, you can actually get more for that. Let me explain why. And so that's why we've made it a point, whether it's consignment or grading or anything that you can think of, we document it and try to share it, because, I'm the league leader in PSA 5s and doing just stupid stuff that doesn't make sense.
Like,
that is awesome. So you guys
we've been dragged a couple of times for some of our stuff. So like,
you have a dealer's table thing. You guys set up a table and stuff?
Yeah, first show ever.
It was so
now,
fun.
And you take kids for card. I mean, you take cards for kids. Like, if people want to send cards to you, could they do that to donate them to you?
Sure. Yeah. But we're not just trying to pass off the garbage that we don't want. Like, I want to hand off something to a kid that's going to make his day, make him happy, and something that he's going to be proud of.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got some things I might send you guys, but I'm also thinking for the audience, because I know people are looking for people to send stuff to, and I think this is great. In fact, I'm a big fan of this. Again, I'd rather people do that. Give to people who want to give to other kids. As an example, there's another guy I watch. I think it's Ryan. He does ripping one-handed, and he's a big Abbott fan. The baseball pitcher Abbott, right? Because one-handed, and
Jim
he
Abbott.
will accept donations of Abbott cards. People send him Abbott cards. He knows Abbott because through the connection of he's born with one hand as well, and Abbott autographs them. And then when he goes out to these hospitals, he brings autographed Abbott cards to these kids. So if you ever have Abbott cards, anybody ever listens, Ryan's a great person to send them to because he's going to give those to kids. He's going to make sure they get. There's a great story there behind it. So I love what you guys are doing. This is freaking awesome, man. I am, like I said, met you guys in the Instagram chat, and I am just super honored to have you on the show. I want to have you guys back again as well. I'd love to have the kids on some point. Maybe we'll do a weekend show where they can be up late. And they can talk to the audience and maybe get some kids involved. And like I said, I'm just building out the content here on this channel as well. So if I can help you guys in any way, please let me know. I really, this has been awesome, guys. I'm going to see if there's any questions from the audience. I'll open that up to see anything out there. Kind of a quiet group. I know people are probably watching football tonight. Are you guys watching the game as well?
We are. I've got it on in the background. I'm trying
I've got to pause right now.
Attention to. I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just so excited to have sports like football. It just like it brings normalcy back to everything, you know?
Well, you went with your kids to a baseball game recently, right?
Yes. Oh my God, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I missed sports so much. We've been to 2 baseball games this year so far.
So it's funny. This was their first major league game for all of them with me. So I got the tickets, right? And I also went on Tops Now, and Tops Now had baseball cards from the game. So I ordered Tops Now cards. So I'm making these little plaques that have the baseball card, their ticket, and a picture of Dad that I'm putting all together for them.
That's
but
so
it's
sweet.
there's little stupid things, right, that we love. And my son was like, well, Dad, it's not going to be worth anything. I'm like, of course it's not worth anything. You're going to keep this for 20 years, and you'll open it up sometime, and you remember the first time you went to the baseball game.
You know, they say that, but then you get famous on YouTube, and then all of a sudden that plaque's worth a ton of money.
Yeah. This is my dad, BG6. Little off center.
Oh, man. You guys are great.
And we, a couple years ago, oh, man. So I remember pulling, after much effort, I pulled the Griffey rookie, the Upper Deck Griffey rookie, which was the chase card. And I carried it with me everywhere for about a week or two. And I kept going to the card shop. I don't know why I didn't have money, and eventually lost it for like $30 in a pack of Bowman, thinking that I was going to pull the Manny Ramirez rookie. And as a consolation prize, I got a Carlos Baerga autographed picture, and I hate myself to this day.
Tell them the story about the card shop guy.
Yeah, the card shop guy in our town used to weigh packs.
Yeah,
and at the time, I knew it was bad. I didn't realize how bad it was. But I once bought a Dimitri Young card for $20. He asked me how much money I had. I said $20. He said, it's your lucky day. Here's this Dimitri Young card. And so, yeah, I've been there. I've been on the wrong side of a lot of deals.
Yeah. So mine would be the Larry Legend card that I just posted. I totally forgot I had it. It was my dad gave it to me when I was a kid. And he was like, here you go. Here's a card. And like
lives a life of privilege. Larry Bird rookies as a kid. I'm out here struggling, buying Dimitri Young cards.
Listen.
The fact you kept that is what's awesome. Is you've had that since you were a kid.
It was in a shoebox that I
PSA 8.
It got an 8, yeah. It was in a
Just
shoebox,
great.
completely unprotected. Just
is that the
chilling.
3 one? Is that the rookie with him and?
No, it's the single, the tops.
The tops, the big one, his first like individual
solo.
Yeah.
Still
so
beautiful
it's on
card.
our Instagram page, but yeah, it just floated around with me for like 20 years, probably more, in a shoebox from house to house. And then the Garbage Pail Kids, Amelia's into those now. When I was a kid, I was really into those in like wacky packs.
Me too.
I loved them. My mom hated them. She's like, these are disgusting. Why can't
they are
you like
disgusting.
The
They're terrible.
Cabbage Patch Kids?
This is so not ladylike.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, Mom, you're the one who makes me watch like. She used to make me watch like Tales from the Crypt and all that weird crap, and like every scary movie. I'm like, and then you wonder why I like vomiting Cabbage Patch Doll kids.
It's always boogers.
I know, the boogers.
Yeah, they were gross. Did they make those the entire 20 years? Have they always been making them? Or did they go away for a while?
They stopped for a while. They it's what's really cool is that I've been starting to get into the ones from like England and like the UK where they're like much smaller and then the names are different. Okay. So they did stop for a while. They brought them. I can't remember exactly how long, but it was like in the 90s for a while. They like late 90s they quit and then they brought them back. And now they're back again. And I heard that they're making a show and R.L. Stein's made some books. So I think that those are going to pop off again.
Did your kids get into Fortnite cards?
No, not like they have. We were talking about them making a deal.
Steven might have, but Dad's a complete hater.
Yeah.
So, I didn't get them either. I wish I did now.
They have Pokemon. Steven's into Pokemon. He's got those. It's so funny. We were talking about like making deals and stuff. I remember one time, like 3 years ago, Steven came home and he had made a deal on the bus for Pokemon cards with a younger kid, and he took like a stack, like this big, from this kid for like one crappy card. And I was so mad at him. I'm like, no, you're giving all of those cards back. And he's like, well, what if I can't get my card back? I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I don't care if you don't get your card back because you're a scumbag and that was a not fair deal. And so you're going to go back and you're going to give that kid. So he lost his card and he gave that kid all of his cards back because I'm like, we don't play like that in this house.
That's you're a great mom. And I'll say that not all parents are like that. There are some crappy parents out there who will go, yeah, it's a good job, son. I think that's a great thing you did that. I applaud that. I'm the same way. I've told my kids, if you do something wrong, I'll be the first one that comes and grabs your ear in front of your friends and embarrasses you. So you better not disappoint me.
Supermom wasn't over here when the boy ripped me off. He came and he needed some money and he said he had an original Charizard and I bought it from him. It just popped after it had been sitting at PSA for 13 months. It wasn't an original. It was a 2016, and I had to eat my words because I always teach my kids to do their due diligence. Yeah. I took his word at it, and Courtney's like, "Why the hell would he have an original Charizard?"
Our 12-year-old son somehow had a card from like 1999 before he was born.
And I had one of those moments where like, yeah, you're right. That's pretty damn stupid on my part.
I don't know. Like you tried to rip him off. And then you got screwed, and that's on you, man. You deserved it.
So yeah, 2016 PSA 6 Charizard going to be readily available soon.
That's why I just don't do Pokemon. I don't get it.
I've made my fair share of mistakes. Look out for Steven. He'll rip your ass off.
I'm trying. Apparently, I'm failing. He's really although he did get ripped off at the National real bad by he would know the name of the dealer that did it. I can't remember the guy's name, but he totally ripped Steven off. I felt bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a game plan. We were going to walk the show first, identify what you want. He saw 2 cards that he liked. Me and Courtney were looking at like maybe some Kobe autos, and we gave him the green light to go ahead, and he bought 2 cards for $40. Turns out they were 99-cent cards.
And the guy knew what he was doing because he was like, oh, I talked him down like $15 on these. He wanted like $50 and he sold them to me for like $35. And then I looked at them and I'm like, yeah, these are like 79-cent cards. So I'm like, first of all, what kind of guy does that to a kid?
But it's a good lesson to learn.
It was a good lesson. He was much more discerning for the rest of the trip, but it was, he worked really hard for his money to go to the National.
That's what I'm saying. That can really sour kids' opinion. Like with so you have good kids too, because my kids not only would be the fault of doing it, the other 2 would give the one so much grief. Like, oh, you get ripped off. Oh, you get ripped off. They just keep.
Oh yeah, no. Here's the thing. We bust balls in this family, he heard about it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll be at the gas station. There'll be a candy bar for 79 cents. I'm like, all right, Steven, give him $40.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing.
My son would get brutalized for that if they make a mistake.
Yeah. We don't. They gotta toughen up a little, but at the same time, we bought him a bunch of bullshit, and he was fine. Like you bought him like 3 James Robinson cards.
This is what happens. Really, the parents we jump on that grenade. Ultimately, the kid makes the mistake, and we have to suck it up and take the pain.
Yeah.
I understand.
It was bittersweet. You're happy that like he felt the pain because he worked for that money. And then he had to feel the sting of it. Like, that's like when they break your stuff and they act like, I don't know why you're mad.
Yeah.
And you've got the air conditioning set at 60 and every window's open. I don't know why you're getting mad.
My son did this last year. He went out maybe 2 years ago. He bought a box of Prism for $350, which I helped him buy. He got a really good deal on it and did really well in the box. Well, then without my permission, without talking to me, he decides to go on eBay and he bought a box of Optic for $600. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you spend that much? Like, we talked about the whole difference between Optic and Prism. I'm like, why would you spend that much money on Optic versus Prism? And he was so bitter. And the thing was, he opened it and then he destroyed the cards. He was mad. So he ripped the cards up and stuff, which made me angry too. Because I sat there and said, what are you doing here? I said, they have some value. You getting angry and destroying the card doesn't make this any better, right? I should make you keep that card as a memory of how you what I'm saying? Like, does anger get to him? But anyway, I digress.
Kids are still learning how to deal with and process their emotions and stuff.
So. And the thing is, let's be honest, I've been there. Don't you feel that you open a box and you're like, but you can't do that.
Yeah. That's why she drinks wine and I drink beer and we cry into a pillow. I think one thing that, we noticed at the National that I thought was a lesson that not a lot of people talk about was the ability to accept rejection. We were at Lowe's multiple nights for the trade nights, and you would watch a kid who would go from 5 to 500 in no time, but their ability to have somebody tell them no and continue to press forward and not get deterred, I thought was just, because I was a kid, you told me no, that ruined my whole day. Well, that's the world. Yeah. Let's call it quits. And so I think them being exposed to that, because they live a pretty good life. So I think there's some benefit to, facing some of those adversities and seeing it.
Reckless Cards is
you see how Courtney behaves. That's pretty straightforward.
It's kind of a play on our last name too. So
yeah. It's just a play on our last name.
Yeah.
Because I say it's again, you're such family oriented people. And then it's funny, Reckless, I'm like, that's clever because it's not with the W, right? But I never, again, with your family oriented content, I'm like, this is a great group. I love what you guys are doing.
Well, please be careful, because if you go to our YouTube, if the kids are involved, it's definitely family friendly. But if the kids are not involved, it is rated R. It is.
I would say our YouTube is probably
we put the kids to bed, and we're gonna have a good time.
That's awesome. Let me see the next question. I love that you're both honest and this happening. It's about let's hear people blowing smoke, talking. This is great. It's so true. I do like your stories. I really do.
Oh, we have so many boneheaded stories and so many stupid things
we've
that
done.
We've
done a lot of dumb stuff. So
and that's the thing. When I got in, I didn't know who I could talk to. I didn't know who I could ask. My friend was pretty limited, and my friend is a collector. He's not into grading cards. He buys Packers cards.
And in fact, I think probably since we started, he's like picked up what he's doing, and he asks us a lot of questions. I'm like, dude, you've been doing this longer than me. I don't know.
And we've cultivated a lot of like awesome relationships. And so like, if I had a question about NFTs, I would go to you. When we're in those group chats, we've learned a lot from you. We got into all that stuff. We bought our first sloths and unmasked elephants or untamed elephants or whatever the hell we're buying.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
No. But I mean, like, just learning about NFTs.
No, I know.
Just sitting back and reading the chat, you're like a cornucopia of knowledge. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
It's funny. I really geek out on this stuff. Like, I love sports cards. I really do. And I love the NFTs. And I also love knowledge. Like, that's one thing I like about YouTube for me. It's really about sharing knowledge. And I'll say, my story, I started in 2015 with my kids. They what got me back into the hobby. And we were very active in Facebook groups for years. And to me, I like the Facebook community so much more. They're tight-knit. People really take care of each other. You'll see charity events and people, if somebody loses something or somebody gets ripped off, people come together. They band together. And I've been in Facebook for years. And then when YouTube, I got in here during the COVID thing. And I do think the YouTube world's a little more, I don't know, bitter sometimes. And also people, I won't say they're not honest, but they kind of will shy away from the truth. Like they just want to talk always about the sunshine and light.
Well,
and I want to talk about the truth.
YouTube's clout. Twitter's very like uppity and like, like I know everything. Instagram's just like, hey, look at my cool card. And YouTube and Facebook's both. It's either like absolutely insane, crazy people.
Or
like really great people. Cause like there's both groups. And And
Are
then
you
like
on
a lot
Facebook
of
groups?
scammers.
What's that?
Are you guys in Facebook groups?
I have never had a Facebook.
I do the Facebook, and I have a hard time on Facebook. I think because
she created a page in my name that way, because when she was under Courtney, people would give her a hard time and wouldn't take her serious.
Yep, I understand that, because as a woman, they don't believe your interstate cards.
Jeremy, and then thanks, bro. Good job, bro.
Yeah, and like people will ask me questions and like take me seriously when I'm using his name. But if it's me, they don't think I know anything because obviously I am a girl, a woman.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of like, Facebook I think is good and bad, because I feel like unless you can hide behind like an emoji or some kind of crap and you're a woman, it's harder because people are dicks.
I can't disagree with you. It's funny. I've been on Facebook for a long time. When I first was on there, and I used Ziggy No on Facebook, right? A lot of people were like, "Who the hell is a Ziggy No? What's your real name? Why are you hiding?" Because people are concerned and very paranoid, scammers, people using false identities. And I share my real name, Michael Sagan, with people, and I gave them the reason why I was Ziggy No. But you're right. For the first year or so, a lot of people put me off, and I would say I built my reputation though by doing really good deals, by vouching for people, by helping people out, being very active in the community. And it just took time. And I will admit, though, it's something that you can't get in instantly. Like a lot of people last year during COVID would be like, "Hey, can you get me into a Facebook group so I can sell stuff?" I'm like, it's not going to work that way. People aren't going to let you into Facebook groups just to go sell stuff. You have to really build the relationship. But I know in the groups that I'm in, I can sell stuff when I need to. I can find great deals. I can also find information out. Like, I can find out if your local card store is. I can find out who knows that local card store, right? Because it's very deep, like blowout forums, right? Another great repository.
There's a few groups I'm in that I love.
Yeah, just great wealth of resource. But anyway, guys, we're talking a little bit longer than I like to go, and I want to get back to the football game, and I want to keep this short for the audience, and I also want to have you guys back on again. So I'm going to cut this off, and I do really encourage you to please share more content with me, and I'll share your channel and your information with my audience. And I'd love to have you guys back on anytime in the future. Like I said, I really love what you guys are doing. Thank you very much for being here, because I know I reached out to you last week. You guys said yes to this, and this has been better than I expected. I really, really mean that. I really enjoyed talking to both of you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this, guys. Have a great night, everybody. I'm just going to hit the end, so it's going to go to black screen. I don't really go back to the chat thing. But, guys, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you guys in chat. And if you need anything, please reach out anytime.